with Priestess B. Halligan from Avalon.
Hi, this is B, and today's talk is a little bit about penises and wands. What does that mean? Well, for those of you who are Celtic scholars, for those of you who follow a Celtic traditional path, it is all about the idea that the Brythonic Celtic people had two types of magic. There was the female, natural magic, and then there was the male, more highborn or high magic. To me, a little bit underhand magic. I haven't got a problem with men before anybody says so, but it is intriguing that in the Welsh language, the word for penis and the word for wand are actually the same. So when a magician, a male magician, picks up his wand, he actually holds his penis in his hand. The women don't usually use a wand. There's a difference between two types of magic. The natural magic that comes from the womb, from the heart, from the soul. And then there is the wand magic, the compelling magic. And I think I talked about Cerridwen using compelling magic in her spell, in her story for her son, for the good of her son, but still compelling magic. And compelling magic has a little tick. What happens is, if you're not really careful with the wording, if you're not really careful with your intent, if you're not really careful all around, that magic will come and bite you in the bum. That even rhymes. I like it. So, when do I use a wand? Well, there are times when, as a witch, I have to use a compelling spell. Simply because there are so many people who are now working with entities, and I'm not talking about Satan or demons or something like that, but entities. If you believe that there is a goddess that is good and looks after you and takes care of the world, then you must also believe that there are entities, beings that are in the world that are trying to be a little bit challenging, or they are challenging. There have been stories in history about usually men making pacts with the devil, making pacts with demons. If you are interested in old-fashioned kind of magic, compelling magic, John Dee is a really good person to start with. He talks a lot about how we can compel another being, an entity, into our circle and hold them there so that they will do our bidding. What he doesn't necessarily always tells people is that is one of the most dangerous things to do, because yes, I know there are some of you out there sitting, well, I know what I'm doing, so you're talking rubbish. You must be a worse magician than me. Well, actually, no, I'm a magician that has a lot of respect, for the entities that we are calling in. I mean, I want you to imagine what it's like, right? You're sitting having your dinner with your family, and suddenly some ding-dong somewhere in the world calls you off your seat and pulls you into their circle so that you will do their bidding. I can't really see that happening. I can't really see anyone being very happy to see you if you do that. With the goddess, when we are asking for something and we are working in unison, we are not a supplication of faith. What I mean by that is we don't ask Cerridwen to sort out our problems. We don't ask Cerridwen to do for us what we can also do for ourselves. Very often she says, okay, so if you think that that's a problem and you need to sort that out, I can give you a hand by all means. But what would you start with? What would you do first? What could you do first? Yeah, change. Transformation begins inside, and very often it is our own behaviors that cause us problems. Like this video is going to be really popular, I'm sure. I'll probably get hexed till I glow. Anyway, so what do I think about compelling magic? Sometimes it is necessary when a whole world, or a good portion of the world, or the people in charge of the world are using entities in order to make themselves richer, give themselves more power, even if it makes no sense whatsoever to put them into positions of power. Somehow they end up there. Somehow they end up being advisors and being, telling us how to live our lives. I would like to have your problems. $4 billion, I'd like to have your problems. But you see, eventually the piper has to be paid. Eventually, whatever entity you're working with and that showers you with these gifts that you have done nothing to deserve, eventually they will wish to have their pound of flesh. And that is the problem with compelling magic. If you compel something to act unnaturally, then that will rebound straight up on you. And no matter how much protection you put around yourself, no matter how hard you try to shield yourself from the fallout, it is very often the case that somehow at one moment of not being fully shielded, fully protected, because you're distracted by something, or you're tired, or whatever, drunk, drugs, whatever it is, they will come in. Now here in Glastonbury, I know not a lot of people will believe this, but when you've been to Glastonbury, you know Glastonbury, and you know the people who live here, you know that sometimes when you talk to somebody that lives here or that has come in here, we have a lot of travelers coming, and they've opened themselves up to things via ayahuasca, via LSD, whatever else drugs they take up on the tour. Somehow they opened themselves up. They've played with something that they know nothing about. Nowadays, nobody wants to learn the craft. Nobody wants to learn the craft. You know, we worked hard for 4 years in a Wiccan circle, or in a Hermetic circle, or whatever circle you're working with, in order to learn our craft. So we know what we have to do to protect ourselves. But these days, people just go on the internet and read something and then go ahead and do stuff, especially together. It's a bit like those 1970s horror movies where all these young people go to the lonely lake and call up a monster and are surprised that they all get slaughtered. I don't know why they would be surprised about that, but there it is. So for me, there really is this idea that if you are working with an entity and you are asking an entity to work with you towards compelling somebody to behave in a better way, compelling somebody to stop beating their children, compelling somebody to stop smacking their wives around, compelling somebody to stop being a dickhead boss who is, you know, making people feel suicidal. All of these things, that's what I use compelling magic for, and I have done so for 23 years. I'm still here to tell the tale, so it seems to me I've done an okay job. So compelling magic is something where you are using certain tools, certain words, certain times of day, certain times of the moon phase, there's so much to consider, using certain symbols, using oils, using particular candles, using this, that, and the other. And oh, by the way, we do not make candles out of baby fat. That's even if it's an animal baby, not happening. Okay, so if you're into that sort of thing, you're in the wrong place. So why can I say with confidence that my spells have been useful and helpful? Well, a lot of them reside in a cupboard, and some of them have resided there for 20 years. And the person that they were worked for is still a happy being, a being that is more calm, more peaceful, and has better relationships. You know, sometimes people actually ask me, can you do that for me? I keep saying the wrong thing. I keep making the wrong decisions. I keep picking the wrong guy. Can you not just put a compelling spell on me or a binding spell on me so that I can be a happier person? Doesn't necessarily always work that way. You know, a lot of the work that has to be done in yourself, because then you're conscious of what's happening to you. If I were to compel you, you wouldn't remember, you wouldn't know that I did that spell on you, and it would make you feel uncomfortable. There would be something that wouldn't be quite right. And if you act in the wrong way, you certainly would know about it. So no, I don't necessarily put compelling spells on people that ask for them. What I can do, and do not with relish, but I am somebody who is very conscious of the way that women are treated in this world. And quite frankly, we had 20 really good years as women, maybe even 30, where we were allowed to explore, where we were allowed to get good jobs, where we were allowed to have our own bank accounts, our own voting rights, we were free, we were autonomous, and we were independent. I have been saying for the last 5 years, folks, that is ending, that there is a war on women and children, and not in foreign places, right here under our noses, and not a particular religion or faith, everywhere, right? everywhere. Even if people are not even conscious of the fact that their bias is growing again against women, we've become too strong, we've become too loud, we've become too proud, and they are frightened of us. The shilly-shallying, shallow male ego is afraid of us, and they are now unfortunately pulling themselves into positions of power by using certain magics. If you don't believe me, it's fine, but just look at some of these people's qualifications and the trajectory of their path to power. You want to know about that. You want to inform yourself. So yes, so today I'm talking about that. And I have my wand in my hand. It's a lovely wand. It's very, very feminine. It has got lots of crystals, and I like that because the crystals help me stay focused. So if you can see, this particular crystal is a clear quartz crystal sphere. It is a seer's sphere because I'm a seer, and what it does is I can see whether, before I even cast the spell, I can ask my seer's sphere whether that is a spell that should be cast, that could be cast, that is for the highest good. The same with the wand with the pointy end. Now, yes, it is a bit bling. You might think, well, I don't know why you're needing a wand. You're a woman, you shouldn't need to use a wand. Why are you using a wand? And I'm just saying 5 minutes. And as I said, you know, sometimes we have to be really directive. Sometimes we have to be really clear on what it is that we wish to do. So here is my power in my hand. So yeah, so my wand has a crystal that is directive. That means that when I point it at you, it usually means this means you. I don't usually point my wand at anyone. It's a bit dangerous to do so, but it is my friend. I hold it, I'm familiar with it. It's a familiar of mine. I love touching it. It was gifted to me. I love the wood of it. It's a blackthorn wand, and blackthorn is very magical. If you want to know why or how we can create compelling magic, I'm happy to talk about it. You can find me either on Zoom, or you can contact me in person here in Avalon. If you wish to know a little bit more about that, I'm always happy to talk about it. I don't put too much detailed information in my videos because people watch them and think they can do what I can do. Trust me, it takes a long time to be able to do what I do, and you have to do so with an open and pure heart, being in connection with a divine being, with a team of divine being that will protect you. It's not just pointing a wand at somebody and saying a few words. Anyway, on that note, I wish you a very good day. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Please come again. We're always happy to have you. There are plenty of videos for you to watch. And next week I might be talking about something even more interesting. Who knows? Or not. The world is a strange place. Blessed be.